Manager in waiting won't be at Stamford Bridge. He's still awaiting a work permit. But let's get the views on his impending appointment from Thomas Tuchel, the Chelsea manager, and Manchester United's interim boss, Michael Carrick.
He helped me a lot because he was my coach, and then he was one of the main figures to convince me to try coaching. So he had a huge influence on all of us at this time, because he showed us that it's not necessary to follow people to the toilet in football games, because that was the belief in these days, that the defenders follow their strikers wherever they go, and he showed us that it's possible to defend everybody in a zone. But listen, I mean, before I get carried away and talk too much, he is not appointed yet, and let's respect everybody. Let's respect Ralph, his decision, and the club's decision, and when things are done, then we can maybe talk about it.
To be honest, from my point of view, not a lot really. Speculation and reports are speculation and reports. So as I'm sitting here now, I'm preparing the team for the game. Really, my head's on the game. I haven't got any more news to share with you on that front. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting down to London and playing against Chelsea.
That was Michael Carrick and Thomas Tuchel there, looking ahead to Chelsea against Manchester United. Ralph Rangnick, David Collins, I mentioned, won't be at the ground, but no doubt he will be taking copious notes. Is that a good appointment until the end of the season?
Do you know what? I've got no idea. I wouldn't know the last time I've seen Ralph in terms of in charge of a team. I've not done any homework on him.
Apart from that,
do
you understand why Manchester United have gone for the interim option? Because clearly they want Mauricio Pochettino next summer. Couldn't get him out of Paris Saint-Germain mid-season, so he is really just keeping the seat warm.
Yes, which I think, look, for a steady pair of hands, someone who's vastly experienced, there must be some other role maybe at the end of it, but what that role is we don't know, because obviously they've got Darren Fletcher there. They do have a sort of hierarchy above the manager in place now, a lot of former players, and where Ralph fits into that at the end of this interim period, don't know. I'd imagine if I was him and I was negotiating something, if I was taking a short-term deal, it'd have to be heavily weighted with either money or some long-term solution at the long-term job at the end of it. Well, what that is, we don't know.
Well, that's key, isn't it? Because I think they first started talking to him on Sunday. They made him an initial job offer on Monday, which he turned down actually, because that was just a straight 6-month contract. Looked like he would be staying in Russia, and then they offered him this 2-year consultancy role at the end of it. And it is a changing of the guard for Manchester United. I didn't think they would offer him that consultancy role, because they already have a director of football in John Murtagh. He's leading the search for a new manager. So by offering someone like Ralph Rangnick that kind of deal, he almost puts his own position under more scrutiny.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, look, there'll be plenty of people who would have thought Ralph wasn't coming. Some of those, might have been saying, no, it's not happening, or it is. Alex, don't you? But anyway, I wouldn't say it's not a surprise bringing someone inexperienced, because obviously Michael is very inexperienced. Now, I played with Michael Carrick. He's a terrific person in the dressing room, garners immediate respect, but he's never ever said he necessarily wants to be a manager. I think if you're going to be manager of Man United, you're someone who wants to have that role, who's willing to take on the responsibility of being Man United. Michael's not in that position yet. It's a long time to carry it for 6 months if you necessarily don't, if you don't see your future in that way. So whether it was someone else who would take it on, I don't know, but so it's difficult for me to say.
Chelsea against Manchester United, 4:30 kick-off this afternoon. Joe Shannon and Paul Parker will be your commentary team for that game. That's after we brought you the second half of Manchester City against West Ham. City leading by 1-0. Crosses right-footed towards Jesus at the near post, and Laporte was up there as well, I think. His was the last contact, right across the face of goal and wide.
Just kiss off the crossbar here. I mean, he gets across the near post in front of Suja. Lovely little glancing header, and it looked to be dropping into that far corner.
Just came off the post. Teasing delivery. And here's another opportunity, and a goal this time for Riyad Mahrez. Super finish, left-footed into the far corner. After West Ham were caught playing their way out for the back. Eyes on the assistant referee because there was a suspicion of offside.
It's chalked off.
It remains Manchester City 0, West Ham 0. Big let off. Mahrez in the penalty area. Left footed across the face of goal. And it's been turned in by İlkay Gündoğan. Captain Marvel for Manchester City. A hopeful ball across the 6-yard box. Falling perfectly for Gündoğan. He couldn't miss. It's his 5th goal in his last 9 games for club and country. And with 12 minutes to go until half-time, it's Manchester City 1, West Ham United 0.
Well, I just wonder, Aaron Cresswell got attracted there by the run of Bernardo Silva on the inside. It just left Mahrez in so much space. Comes on the inside onto his left peg and he just lets fly, really. He's hoping something might come off here. In the end, a little nick, a little deflection, falls at the feet of Gündoğan, about 6 yards out, 4 yards out, and he just taps it in.
That was the story of the first half. Manchester City closing in on the victory that will take them level on points with leaders Chelsea, at least for a couple of hours. But West Ham United have gained 6 points from losing positions this season. Can they show their powers of recovery once again in the second half? We'll find out shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
It's the ultimate fusion of football and celebrity.
The Best 11 podcast from TalkSport.
Johnny Owen and Mark Webster interview the biggest names in popular culture.
Looking back at the role the beautiful game has played in their lives.
Paul Weller. Could I just start off apologising for last weekend?
Actor Stephen Graham. Good morning, Stevie.
Morning. Sharing their earliest football memories.
How they celebrated their team's successes.
Culminating in their all-time best 11.
Noel Gallagher.
Let's deal with the hangover and let's have it again after that.
The Best 11 podcast. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Tom Rennie. Join me for a weekly podcast, Week in the Tackle, available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm going to be joined by Brian Dunseth, MLS legend, to tackle the biggest stories from the week in soccer.
And the great thing about working with Tom and making Week in the Tackle is we're only going to be covering things we think are worth tackling.
This show is all about passion. What's going to get us riled up? What's going to get you riled up to give us all something to chew on?
We're not here to sit on the fence and tell you the stories of the day. That's what your phone's for. You'll be scrolling through Twitter while listening anyways.
Exactly. I'm scrolling through Twitter right now. I'll save you the trouble. It is all bad news. This show is about tackling all the news of the week, giving our take on why it's interesting and why we think you should know it.
Who should be sacked? Who should be bought? Who should be sold? Who was right? Who was wrong?
Strong opinion, big stories, no agenda.
Week in the Tackle is available on Mondays from wherever you get your podcasts. If it's a big story in soccer, we'll tackle it.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the TalkSport hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the TalkSport hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Women's Football Weekly Podcast.
With Faye Carruthers. All the action, excitement and drama from across the entire women's game.
Cleared off the line by Steph Horton.
Including the Women's Super League.
Ellen White is there to tap it in.
The UEFA Women's Champions League.
Lana Cleland striking from outside the penalty area.
And the Euro 2021 qualifiers.
On the edge of the area to Emsley. And Emsley's going to finish it off.
Plus, all the home nations' international friendlies.
Lucy Bronze with the strike from the edge of the penalty area.
World-beating big match conversation.
There's Jodie Taylor.
Subscribe now to the Women's Football Weekly Podcast on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against West Ham United from the Etihad Stadium. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former West Ham striker, David Connolly. This is Premier League Live, where, got to say, the ground staff have done another fantastic job, David Connolly. Certainly, both penalty areas have been completely cleared of snow. They're currently working on the area around about the centre circle. They've got big industrial shovels, I guess the problem is if it continues to snow, then give us 15 minutes and the pitch will be completely covered again.
Very well organised though. Started on the outsides, then they cleared the boxes, working towards the middle, and could get around the garden. I tell you what, a bit ship shape in no time.
Yeah, absolutely. Those conditions have made for an interesting spectacle. Manchester City leading 1-0. Ilkay Gundogan with the goal 12 minutes before half-time. They've scored 49 goals now, David Connolly, in their last 18 and a half matches, Manchester City. Who needs a number 9?
Well, yeah, that's true. But also they've got second best defensive record, so I think, they've got it all at the minute, but they're in a really tight race at the top, aren't they? Obviously, Chelsea, Liverpool, the sides keep winning, so they have to keep winning as well.
Ilkay Gundogan has scored 15 open play goals in 37 Premier League appearances since the start of last season, the most of any midfielder. Bruno Fernandes with 13 goals in 49 appearances, second on that list. Some reaction also reaching us from Antonio Conte, the Tottenham manager. Their game against Burnley was called off around about half an hour before kick-off because of snow. Conte says, I think in these conditions it's not football. I want to play football, I want to have fun, to play and go give emotion. I think in this situation it's impossible, and there is a serious risk for the players to take injury. This is not good. Do you think Pep Guardiola and David Moyes may share those sentiments come full time?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because they're doing a really good job here. I mean, basically the pitch, which was snow covered, is now nearly, I'd say, 2/3 cleared. So time is pressing. Obviously they try and get the remaining snow off the pitch, but they're giving it a really good go.
They've extended the half-time interval, haven't they? Because we should have kicked off a couple of minutes ago. Clearly that's to allow the ground staff more time to clear the playing surface. Either that, or we're going to get Rihanna or someone singing in the centre circle.
They did want, wasn't that muted about an extended half-time period?
Luckily it was quickly shot down, that idea.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Obviously we've had the fan-led review, haven't we, come out of late as well, so there's a lot of discussions going on at this moment in time for how we can improve football and distribution of wealth, etc, and the longer half-time period did crop up, but certainly I don't think anyone would want that, barring an occasion like this when it's a good use of time.
Well, we will bring you the second half as soon as we get it here at the Etihad, but for now they have kicked off at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford leading Everton by 1-0. Let's get some commentary from there with John Howick.
Key. That's going to be retreated safely back to Jordan Pickford. His clearance will just about find Seamus Coleman. Coleman's long ball forward is intercepted in mid-air by a well-timed jump from Christian Norgard. Actually scored on his debut, the Danish midfielder, in that 2-0 victory against Arsenal back in August. That was the last time they won here at home, but they're just 45 minutes or so away from their second home victory of the season. What would be their first win since early October against West Ham. That was back at the London Stadium. Here's a cross from Luca Dean. Solomon Rondon has gone down inside the box after being tightly marked by Frank Onyeka. The defensive header has knocked it behind from Pontius Janssen for a corner. Everton is saying they want this looked at, but the offside flag has gone up anyway, so it won't matter, and Everton won't get their corner. Bit of a frustrating afternoon for Solomon Rondon, coming back into the Premier League after stints at West Brom and Newcastle. Still hasn't scored since his return to the top flight with Everton, after being transferred over from the Chinese Super League to be reunited with Rafa Benitez, who built up a good relationship with the Venezuelan striker during his time at Newcastle. Alex Iwobi, edge of the box, gets it to Luca Dean, who slips, cleared away, goes straight up in the air though by Christian Norgard, and then as he presented the ball to Solomon Rondon on the turn on the volley, got it all wrong.
And if you want to continue to listen to commentary of Brentford against Everton, you can do so via the website talksport.com. The players belatedly back out on the pitch at the Etihad. The ground staff have finished clearing the majority of the surface. West Ham United players led out by their goalkeeper Lucas Fabianski. A difficult afternoon for him so far because of the snow that's been falling. But West Ham at 1-0 down, David Connolly, still very much in this.
Absolutely. And, whenever Mikel Antonio had the ball, he was a real threat. I mean, they're out early. West Ham, we're yet to see Man City appear, but I think by the time they do, the pitch will, have done a really good job, the ground staff, getting all the snow off the pitch. The snow has stopped, so it's like a completely different game now. I mean, it looks like a nice, fine day. So, I'm expecting a good second half. And, 1-0, obviously, you're always still in the game.
The Manchester City players just keeping themselves warm at the mouth of the tunnel. Looks like they've all changed their shirts for this second half. The goal scored by Ilkay Gundogan 12 minutes before the break, the one that separates the two teams. Kyle Walker in conversation with Michael Oliver, the referee. Doesn't look as if we're going to see changes in personnel. So Manchester City with Ederson in goal, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, who's been booked, and Cancelo in defence. Gundogan the goal scorer, Rodri and Bernardo in midfield with Mahrez, Jesus and Sterling up top. West Ham with Fabianski in goal, Johnson, Dawson, Zuma and Cresswell. Then Fornal, Soucek, Rice, Masuaku, Ben Rama providing support to Mikel Antonio up front. West Ham have lost only 3 of their last 15 Premier League games, 3 of their last 22 in all competitions. They are 1-0 down at half-time as we prepare for the start of the second half. Brentford 1, Everton 0, 5 minutes gone in the second half there. And Leicester City leading their old manager Claudio Ranieri by 3-1 at a snowy King Power Stadium. Team news from Stamford Bridge very shortly. Manchester United, the visitors, Joe Shannon and Paul Parker, your commentary team.
Well, there's a little bit of frustration here, I'm sure, for the ground side, because I reckon 90% of that pitch has been cleared, but there's a tiny sort of postage stamp right in the middle, and it would bug me, unless that was cleared. But I wonder if they can get it done, if they're going to get time. Let's see. They're giving it a good go. Yep. They're under pressure.
The players back out. The referee ready to get us back off and underway. Michael Oliver, who refereed this game last season, Manchester City 2-1 winners back in February. On course for a repeat performance here. 1-0 in front, courtesy of Ilkay Gundogan. As the ground staff continue to clear that last bit of snow that was annoying David Connolly.
I tell you, it's so satisfying though, isn't it, when if you ever do that, rake the leaves and clear the snow. It's a pain when you do it, but
that's what gardeners are for.
Afterwards, we're not all media moguls like you, Alex. So some of us have to do a bit of work ourselves at home anyway.
I do like these industrial shovels that the Manchester City ground staff have commandeered for the afternoon.
Well, there'll be a few listeners in America and various parts who think this is a walk in the park for them.
And the ground staff are being given a standing ovation as they complete their clearance and take exit from the pitch, which is now lush green.
Glory Hunter, look, that one, it's only got a tiny bit, it's like a snowball, and it is.
And eventually a football match will break out in this second half here on Premier League Live. Manchester City all in sky blue, shooting from right to left to get us back off and underway. The snow has stopped. Still a very chilly afternoon. West Ham all in navy, attacking the goal away to our right. 1-0 City lead, and we are back underway. Straight away Ruben Diaz being put under pressure by Mikel Antonio. Walker plays it down that right touchline to Jesus, and it's hooked into the West Ham half by Bernardo. West Ham fans serenading their players with their I believe in Bubbles chant. The ball is back with Manchester City's goalkeeper Ederson. The ball forward to Gundogan. And Ederson plays it short to the right corner of the penalty area, and Ruben Diaz started 11 of Manchester City's 13 Premier League games this season. Ruben Dias, he's on the ball now, just inside his own half. Jesus, with his back to goal, picks up possession. Manchester City picking up in this second period, but they left off at half time, dominating the ball, trying to move the West Ham players around. Bernardo looking for Mahrez over on the far side. Here is Kyle Walker now up in support. Back to Mahrez, who's got room to run into on the edge of the area. Declan Rice does well, not only to win possession, but keeps the ball and drives towards the halfway line, but he's forced to run it out to play by Mahrez.
Well, he's just sort of saying to his teammates, I had nothing ahead of me, so he was just delaying on the ball, and in the end he was out hustled.
It's not quite the fortress that it used to be, the Etihad. Manchester City have lost 4 of their last 11 Premier League home games, the same number of defeats as in their previous 55. Crystal Palace winning here this season already, but here's Jesus into the area, away from Zuma, tries to cut the cross back. Zuma does well, concedes a corner.
Yeah, another example of some good defending from Kurt Zuma. It's been an excellent signing, hasn't he? You know, tough at times on Craig Dawson, who really, because of Zuma's out of the team, but his partner in Zuma today.
Manchester City 1, West Ham 0. Corner from the right hand side will be taken by Riyad Mahrez. In towards Dias, good header away by Dawson, usually so reliable defending those set pieces. It's back with Raheem Sterling now on the left hand side, chips it into the area, headed away by Dawson. And now picked up by Ilkay Gundogan in the centre circle. Mikel Antonio just looking over the bench, seeking some instructions from David Moyes in this second half. West Ham haven't really kicked the ball yet, David, for 3 minutes since the restart.
No, but I mean, you know, he started in a similar vein in the first. I think they'll know City will dominate the ball. It's just whether they can pose that threat on the counter, which certainly last season I thought they were lethal with the likes of Lingard, you know, with that pace. I think they still have it this season, but less so, you know, and they are certainly a counter-attacking team. That's their style.
Here's Walker, plays it out to the right hand side, and Riyad Mahrez. Walker spending a lot of this second half so far inside the West Ham half of the field away to our left. He's just helped the ball out to Bernardo over on that far touchline. Now Mahrez back to Walker again, and then Rodri casually lays it off to Dias on halfway. Laporte forward for Manchester City, switches it out to Mahrez again on the right. West Ham with everybody bar Antonio back behind the ball as Mahrez still has it, shifts it to Walker, and now Bernardo comes over to the far touchline for Manchester City. And here he is again, Bernardo, a second goal, and you feel it would be all over for West Ham. Mahrez with the chance to cross, cutting in from the right hand side, eventually does play it into the area where it's volleyed away by Dawson, and then a bit of a grappling match between Dias and Antonio inside the centre circle before it's headed away by Laporte. Fornals though chips it forward, Antonio bearing down on Dias, who keeps his composure and clears with the overhead kick, and it's with Kyle Walker now in the right back position.
I mean, at times I think it must be hard for the City centre forwards when Riyad Mahrez has got the ball wide, because he ducks infield. I mean, his ability to deceive you that he's going to cross the ball and then stop it, move it, fake to cross, stop it, move it again. You know, it's hard when you're a front man, because you make one run, then you've got to check out, you're thinking about making another, and you know, at times he does it so well, but it's sort of to the detriment really of his centre forwards.
1-0 Manchester City, and they have the ball on this left touchline with Gabriel Jesus. Now Cancelo forward. He's been involved in plenty of goals this season, João Cancelo. 2 scored himself, 6 assists, including that delicious ball forward with the outside of the boot to set up Raheem Sterling last weekend against Everton. The epitome, Cancelo, of a modern fullback. And here's Cresswell, who's also been a pretty good supply line for West Ham since the start of the campaign. 6 minutes gone in the second half, still no change in the scoreline here. 1-0 Brentford lead against Everton, and it's Leicester 3, Watford 1 at the King Power. Manchester United against Chelsea, or Chelsea United I should say, still to come. Here's Johnson for West Ham. Antonio in the centre, so too was Benrahma. It wasn't a great ball low into the box, but it's turned behind by Laporte for a West Ham corner.
Yeah, I don't think Laporte knew too much about this. He was actually running back towards his own goal, facing his own goal. And this ball, I think, went through a couple of pairs of legs and landed at the feet of Laporte, and he just sort of kicked it off the park, but I don't think he knew too much of it. And this will be interesting because obviously how City mark, part zonal, part man mark, the bigger players mark in the zones, the smaller players man mark, and what their job is, you know, to just stop those runners from West Ham coming in. So the likes of Bernardo Silva is marking Kurt Zouma, you know, Raheem Sterling's marking Craig Dawson, and what's Raheem, 5'7" up against someone 6'3"? That is the mismatch. Whether they can make the most of this, West Ham.
Cresswell with the delivery, left footed from the right hand side. He's found Rice at the near post. Rice couldn't hook it back into the areas. They've come out wide here, West Ham, and Declan Rice trying to link up with Benrahma. The ball fizzed into the chest of Benrahma, but he gets it into the box and blocked by Bernardo, and then calmly cleared away by the goal scorer Gundogan. But West Ham have got it back with Masuaku over on that left hand side. Antonio for company, up against Walker here. Antonio, Souček waiting for a cross in the centre, but just too many blue shirts between Antonio and the box, and Manchester City have possession safely with Mahrez over on the far side. Rodri holding off Fornals. Such an important player, Rodri, for Manchester City this season. Benrahma looks like he's hobbling, David Conley.
Does he? Oh yeah, he comes back in the shot.
Looks in some discomfort actually, just holding his right ankle. We'll keep an eye on that. Here is Riyad Mahrez for City, leading 1-0. 20 yards inside the West Ham half. And Mahrez plays it back to Ruben Diaz.
Well, Antonio's just saying, go on then, if you're struggling, you stay as a number 9 and I'll do the donkey work as a number 10. So just swap roles at the minute when City have the ball.
They do have plenty of options on their bench in terms of people who could potentially replace the stricken Benrahma. Jarrod Bowen left out the starting lineup, maybe surprisingly today, given that they haven't really changed the system. Could come on. Yarmolenko scoring his first goal of the season in Europe in midweek. Nikola Vlasic, Lanzini. They've almost got a five-a-side team of number 10s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not many number 9s though.
I like a foul throw from Johnson, but not the one they want. I think that, you know, if they could get Lingard, it'd be the one.
9 minutes played in the second half. Throw in for Manchester City, taken by Cancelo on this near left touchline. Now here is Fornals coming forward down the West Ham right, running into trouble in the form of Sterling. He wanted a free kick, referee says play on, and here's Gundogan now on halfway for Manchester City. Always look like they've got all the time in the world, don't they, Manchester City, when they're in possession. Forward it goes towards Sterling, headed away by Johnson, and Fornals into Antonio. Fornals finding Benrahma. Neat into play, but one back inside the centre circle by Rodri.
Just one pass too many there from Benrahma. He needed to turn out and then slip it forward to Antonio rather than another pass in a sort of tight, congested place.
Sterling now coming in from the left touchline for Manchester City. Cancelo with the ball infield, chested down by Kyle Walker. Walker in the orange footwear plays it out to the right of Mahrez. Only his second Premier League start of the season, Riyad Mahrez, this afternoon. Here's Sterling in the box, tries to cushion it down for Gundogan. Couldn't quite pick out the German international. It's cleared upfield by Fornals, maybe more than that actually. Sent Antonio away. Benrahma in the centre. Antonio running at the two Manchester City centre-backs, then as he tried to pick out Souček, he's passed it straight to Mahrez, and City can counter. Gundogan to Sterling. Jesus in the centre. Here is Gabriel Jesus, takes the ball around the goalkeeper, and it's cleared by Cresswell at some cost. I think he collided with a post, Aaron Cresswell. Maybe Jesus should have made it 2-0 to Manchester City.
Well, terrific clearance here from Cresswell, who looks like he's hurt the small of his back, but going the other way. I mean, Antonio with such a sloppy pass trying to pick up Benrahma, and I spoke about them being a threat on the counter, but then when it turns over, City are in behind and it's Sterling 1v1 against Dawson. He could have actually taken him on, instead crossed early to Jesus, and I think he's tried a little dink over the goalkeeper here, and it's not a clean connection. Fabianski gets something on it, and it's spinning towards goal. Whether it's actually going in or just wide, I'm not too sure, but Creswell took no chances, cleared the danger and just clattered into the post. No doubt, as he's gone sliding in, the surface has just helped him crash into the base of the post.
Painful one for Aaron Cresswell. Rapid counter-attack from Manchester City. Watch a replay. He's absolutely careered into the upright, Cresswell, having got back and made the clearance. It's his lower back. It's clattered into that left-hand upright. Manchester City will have a corner at the end of it all. Cresswell still down, still looking in discomfort.
Well, I remember the one, I think it was the former Ireland teammate Phil Babb.
Yes.
When he went to clear the ball, I think it was for Liverpool against Chelsea, maybe a long time ago, and he clattered into the post. Very painful one.
Emmanuel Dennis has got a goal back for Watford. Stands a humdinger at the King Power. Leicester 3, Watford 2. Brentford still 1-0 up against Everton via that coolly taken Ivan Toney penalty. And here are the Etihad as Manuel Lanzini prepares to come on. It's Manchester City 1, West Ham 0. I think it will be Lanzini for Ben Rama, who we mentioned was struggling. David Moyes hopeful that Cresswell will be able to continue. They're down to 10 men as this corner is taken, and Diaz with a header can only divert it away from goal. He's picked up in the right back position by Declan Rice for West Ham. Trying to set Fornals away. Ooh. Well defended by Cancelo eventually. Just for a moment it looked like he missed his kick.
He did, and then he just recovered well. I mean, whether Ben Rama is struggling or not, I think, he'd probably look at bringing Lanzini on anyway. Just had more of an impact on the game.
Just looking at West Ham's run of games. Full midweek programme, as I mentioned. They've got Brighton at home, followed by Chelsea at home, then Burnley and Arsenal away, so some tricky looking fixtures to come. As Lanzini is introduced, let's bring you the 5th goal in the game at the King Power Stadium. Leicester against Watford and Barry Swain.
And Leicester City have been pulled apart here, and they've got a goal back. Watford from Emmanuel Dennis, straight down the middle. Leicester's defence goes missing, and Watford are right back in this game now.
Dennis the Menace strikes for Watford as Manuel Lanzini replaces Ben Rama. His happy memories from his last trip to Manchester. Lanzini scored in the League Cup win against Manchester United. It's his only goal this season. At the moment they're still down to 10, West Ham. Masuaku just slotting in at left back while Cresswell continues to receive treatment.
Well, it might mean then, if Cresswell is struggling, obviously Masuaku natural left back, they might just change shape then.
Bring Jarrod Bowen maybe into the fray. Bowen, one of the 3 players who did start in the Europa League in midweek when David Moyes made 8 changes from the previous Premier League lineup. He was taken off, I think, in the second half, which suggested that he was being rested for this game, so a few eyebrows raised when he wasn't in the starting 11. Hour gone, 1-0 Manchester City. And here's Raheem Sterling down their left hand side, looking for a second goal to kill off the game. It's away from Fornals and from Johnson into Gundogan, the goal scorer. Show too much of that to Lanzini, and he sets Fornals free down the right. Fornals tripped by João Cancelo. That will be a yellow card. Cynical challenge from the fullback.
He did well here, Fornals. He sort of pretended he was going to go backwards to his own goal, then took the ball forwards once he just lost Cancelo momentarily. He doesn't have the pace, does he, Fornals, to get away from you, so he's just trying to use a bit of deception there to win the free kick, and did it well.
Well, Aaron Cresswell, having collided with a post, saving a certain goal, is unable to continue. Vladimir Sofal coming on in his place. So a like-for-like swap. I can only assume, David, that Jarrod Bowen maybe picked up some kind of a knock in midweek.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, obviously he's been superb for Moyes, hasn't he, since he's joined the club.
Here's Sterling down the Manchester City left, clips it over the head of Johnson, and Gundogan is away from Declan Rice. Rice does well actually to time his tackle and win the ball back, and here's Lanzini raiding down the right, trying to link up with Johnson. The pass was behind the fullback who can't bring it under control, and Manchester City have it now with Ruben Diaz. Diaz plays it out to the right, and Walker's going to go all the way back to Ederson, still on course for that century of clean sheets for Manchester City. Another goal in the game at the King Power, goal number 6 of the afternoon. We'll get there shortly. Still just the one here at the Etihad, scored by İlkay Gundogan. In the closing stages of the first half, Manchester City have lost only one of their last 11 in the Premier League. That was a shock home defeat here against Crystal Palace. Set to go level on points with the leaders Chelsea, who play Manchester United. Team news from there in a couple of minutes' time. Masuaku taking on Rodri, getting away from the Spaniard down the left hand side, cross into the penalty area, but can only pick out João Cancelo. And here's Raheem Sterling back on the edge of his own box and being closed down quickly, but he still manages to feed it forward to Cancelo. Cancelo has found Jesus down by the left corner flag. Gabriel Jesus up against Kurt Zouma. Into Gundogan again. Declan Rice snapping away and winning it back for West Ham. He's had another excellent afternoon, the England international.
Yeah, just a pass to Gundogan was just too short. Just invited a challenge from Declan.
He's had a terrific season. Terrific couple of seasons, Declan Rice.
Oh, absolutely. He's got more goals than he did last season already, hasn't he? I'm sure.
Yeah, 3 in all competitions. Became a bit of a social media star in the week as well, on the new singing app, singing his rendition of Ice Ice Baby. Quite apt given the conditions in Manchester this afternoon. Well, the snow has relented in this second half, much to the relief of the grounds, when the ball is moving a bit more freely than it was in the first, David, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. There's more like a normal game, conditions of a normal game. Still remnants of a little bit of snow on there, but
here's Sterling for Manchester City, halfway inside the West Ham half. He finds Rodri, tall Spaniard, forward to Kyle Walker down the City right. At the moment, City continuing to dictate the pace of the play. West Ham content to sit deep and try and hit on the counter. But in truth, Ederson hasn't had too many moments of concern over the course of the opening 64 minutes. With Bernardo Silva on halfway for City. Now Walker, as he goes back to Diaz now inside his own half. And here's Aymeric Laporte, the fellow centre-back for Manchester City. Vladimir Sofal able to mop up possession and play it back to Fabianski inside the 6-yard box. Again, he's very careful over his kick out.
Well, he doesn't reach the halfway. He just hasn't got the power, Fabianski. It's always been an issue, I think, with his kicking.
It's a problem for a modern goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because so many attacks start from the back. I think it's a problem for David De Gea as well at Manchester United.
Yeah, and the issue for West Ham is that unless they hit Souček, they're just not going to see the ball again. That's been the issue for them when they kick long from their goalkeeper.
City passing the ball around inside their own half. That's very quickly crossed the King Power. Another goal between Leicester and Watford. Barry Swain.
Harvey Barnes into the penalty area. Harvey Barnes must be. Lookman makes it 4. Simple goal, really. And his first goal in the Premier League for Leicester City.
So 4-2 Leicester lead. Here's Raheem Sterling down the left-hand side for Manchester City. One back by Johnson, but doesn't get too much distance on the clearance. It's going to be a throw-in down by the corner flag. Here's Cancelo now. Turning away from Declan Rice, winning another throw. These West Ham players having to work really hard out of possession. Mentally, I'd imagine it's quite a draining experience, David Connolly, coming up against Manchester City.
Absolutely. And obviously, you know, especially the wide men, the likes of Masuaku and Fornals, working ever so hard when City's wingers get the ball to help their wing back or their full-backs out, get back and round and help Johnson and Soufal on the other side.
Now Masuaku. Soufal has made a good run to his left. Oh, Antonio took it off his own man there, much to Soufal's frustration, and Walker now in possession down by the right corner flank for Manchester City. Jesus out-muscled by Zuma, wants a free kick, referee says play on, and West Ham in possession with Masuaku, fires it forward to Fornals, gives it back to Masuaku, and now on halfway Zuma takes over. Dawson out to the right, and Johnson. David Moyes frantically pointing, cajoling his players on. That's a good ball forward to Lanzini. He's offside. It's a free kick for Manchester City. Team news in from Stamford Bridge. Still no Romelu Lukaku in the starting lineup for Chelsea. He's on the bench today against his former club Manchester United. No N'Golo Conte either. Trevor Chalobah continuing in defence. Hakim Ziyech starting for United. Alex Telles is preferred as left full back. Marcus Rashford starts, having been left out in midweek. Bruno Fernandes back in as well. Very defensive lineup actually. Fred, Matic and McTominay all starting for the men from Old Trafford. Cristiano Ronaldo is on the bench.
Ooh.
Sterling now into the penalty area. Your immediate reactions to that news, David?
Well,
Conley?
I mean, obviously he's trying to freshen things up by the looks of it. You know, obviously you can win a game, you've got plenty of time. It could be 60 minutes and then we see Ronaldo, see how it goes. But
he won't like it though, will he?
He won't like it, and the fans won't like it. What was the game where Ronaldo started on the bench?
Everton.
Was it the Everton one?
At home, yeah.
Solskjaer got an awful lot of stick for that, didn't he? But
I guess when you know it's going to be your last game, as it probably is for Michael Carrick, you can almost do what you want. That game coming up at 4:30 with Joe Shannon and Paul Parker. Gundogan with the ball into the area for Manchester City, cleared as far as Sterling, who lets fly left-footed from the edge of the penalty area high over the crossbar. Not too many chances in the opening stages of this second half.
I mean, I've got to say, Sterling in around the box and outside, it's been pretty disappointing, I think. You know, he's tried to duck inside Declan Rice once there, and he's, you know, didn't keep the ball close enough to him. Shot over the bar, poor decision on the hard volley, especially on his left side. So yeah, and I get look, going back to the Ronaldo scene, it's quite a big one, isn't it, from Carrick? I mean, you know, to leave him on the bench, especially if it's like your last game, you know, that is a statement.
Looks like
leaving your mark.
A team set up not to concede too many goals
and to work probably hard without the ball, but Fernandes in there, I guess.
Fascinating game to come at Stamford Bridge. A fascinating final 20 minutes here. West Ham still in it at 1-0 down, but unable so far to ask too many questions of Ederson and that Manchester City back line. City still dictating possession. It's with Walker just inside the West Ham half. He switches it out to the left hand side, and Sterling, Raheem Sterling, left corner of the penalty area. He's up against Johnson. He's away from Johnson, gets the byline, tries to cut the cross back, and Dawson turns it behind for a corner.
Well, that looked like it went out. Looked like maybe Raheem Sterling just overrun this, but his pace just maybe got in there in time. Tried to cut the ball back, and Dawson did what he should do, just blocked the ball at the near post, went out for another corner. Let's see this again. Big touch past Johnson, then he tries to get after the ball, and it's hard to see from there, but it might have just gone over the line anyway.
Ilkay Gundogan, scorer of the only goal. He is about to take the corner. Jarrod Bowen will be on for Masuaku very shortly. Gundogan with the corner, which is easily cleared by West Ham. Kyle Walker, furthest outfield player back from Manchester City, retrieves possession on halfway. And now Rodri, 19 to play. I think if West Ham were to get an equaliser, Pep Guardiola will be left very frustrated. 73% possession for City in this second half to West Ham's 27%. But neither goalkeeper have really had too much to do since the break.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, West Ham, they're not going to suddenly change their game plan at half time, you know, despite being down. You know, they're still in the game at 1-0, so it's a case of being patient, diligent, defending well, and hoping if you get an opportunity on the counter or on the break or whatever, you know, you take it, or you get the odd one or two. That's been the story of the second half, really, just staying in the game.
Walker now for Manchester City, switches the play out to this left-hand side, looking for Sterling. Johnson heads it clear. It's picked up by Cancelo, and Cancelo's got the better of Johnson down the Manchester City left. Chance to cross right-footed, good-looking ball. Sofal cushions it clear. Sterling though into Mahrez. Mahrez forward to Bernardo. West Ham look stretched inside their own 18-yard box. Bernardo forced wide by Zuma. Plenty of navy shirts back there for the Hammers, and what looked a promising attack was rather petered out, but Manchester City still in possession with Gundogan their goal scorer. Out to Sterling on the left. He's got Cancelo offering support. Gundogan back out to Sterling, shifts the ball so quickly, the German. And here's Cancelo again, just outside the penalty area. 1-2 with Jesus, trying to nick it around Johnson, and Fabianski has to come sliding in and turns the ball behind for a corner.
Yeah, just about did enough. Fabianski was probably unsure here whether Johnson was going to get there and do enough, but seems a little bit overworked here, Johnson on the right hand side. I mean, they've had a lot of the ball, and now it's not only physical fatigue, it's mental fatigue as well. Staying with your runners, staying with your men, blocking, marking, tracking. It's tiring as well.
Manchester City 1, West Ham 0. 73 minutes played at the Etihad. Corner to be taken by Gundogan. Fabianski thought about coming, leaves it for Zuma to head away, and then Declan Rice glides away from Riyad Mahrez and finds Antonio, who's been starved of service, particularly in this second half. He's won a throw, Antonio. And here comes that West Ham change. Jarrod Bowen replacing Arthur Masuaku for the final 16 minutes plus added on time.
Yeah, he put in a couple of really good deliveries, Masuaku, and he's got lovely left foot. It's good he's back fit, and he gives you that option, you know, certainly for David Moyes. You can play back three, you can play four. Masuaku can play that wing back role or left wing, but good to see Bowen on the pitch. Bring a lot of industry and energy, they'll need that. Try and get back in this game.
So barring Lanzini, 10 of the 11 West Ham players now would be considered first team regulars. It's a strong squad that David Moyes has assembled. When you look at Alex Krau, signed on loan in the summer, yet to make his debut in the Premier League. Vlasic has been in and out as well. Yarmolenko, you mentioned, really safe for cup competitions.
Yeah, it's probably, you know, you look at Aleri's doing for Ajax in the Champions League, and you know, you just think, well, could they not have maybe made that work for him, or was it never destined to work for West Ham? I don't know, but certainly when Antonio's been out, they have found that difficult. You know, Bowen's fulfilled that role, hasn't he? They've had to sort of make do really when Antonio's been out, and he will miss games. You know, he always has for his career. Does pick up the odd little injury, muscle, etc.
He's only scored once in his last 8 matches. Hasn't had too many opportunities to add to that tally. Mikel Antonio. But the longer it stays 1-0, West Ham will believe they can create one big opportunity between now and full time. Manchester City, you go to Aston Villa in midweek. Then a trip to Watford in a home game with Wolves, not too much to scare them there, although Steven Gerrard has started his Villa reign with back-to-back wins, 2-1 victors at Crystal Palace yesterday.
What a pirouette that was from Bernardo Silva. Span around sort of 360 degrees, keeping the ball really close to him with his big toe, deceived 2 West Ham midfielders. Fantastic. Drew a little ripple of applause from the home crowd.
They've been quite subdued, the Manchester City fans. Most of the atmosphere throughout the afternoon being whipped up by those travelling West Ham supporters. As Antonio tries to get away from Ruben Diaz, he's been taken out over on the far touchline. It was a terrific piece of hold-up play initially by Antonio.
That's got to be a yellow card. Has to be. Great hold-up play. He knows Ruben Diaz is right up his backside. Then he just allows him to turn and spin. I mean, if that's not a booking, I don't know what is. He just stuck his leg out. Antonio had gone past him. He was, they might have had cover around, but nonetheless, should have been a yellow card.
Referee certainly showing a bit of leniency there. Free kick from Sofal into the area. Dawson heads it down. Wouldn't come for Zuma. All Rice stabbed away by Gundogan. And then Dawson puts it back into the box where the West Ham players were already retreating. And it's collected by the Manchester City goalkeeper Ederson. 1-0 City lead. Same scoreline at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford 1, Everton 0. Leicester 4-2 up on Watford. And still to come, Chelsea against Manchester United. We'll have team news from Joe Shannon shortly. Sofal back to Zuma, just inside the West Ham half. Only 2 attempts from West Ham, none in this second half to City's 13. They too have only had 3 in the second period. But here come West Ham, roared on by their travelling supporters. Fornals down the left-hand side of Declan Rice, who's urged to shoot and does so. And the goalkeeper uncomfortable as he punches that one clear.
Yeah, took no chances there, Ederson. Nice strike from Declan Rice. A good 25 yards out. It was almost straight at Ederson though.
Here's Johnson for West Ham. Down the right, linking up with Antonio. Maybe a chance to get across into the area. He pirouettes away from Cancelo and tricks himself. Let's get the team news from Stamford Bridge. Your match commentator is Joe Shannon.
2 changes to the Chelsea side that thrashed Juventus here in the Champions League in midweek. Chilwell out after suffering a knee ligament injury during the game. Conte twisted his knee, so he's also unavailable. Loftus-Cheek and Werner, who scored off the bench against Juve, both start. Lukaku remains on the bench. Chelsea, Mendy in goal. Chalobah, Thiago Silva and Rudiger. James, Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek and Alonso. Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi behind Werner up front. There's a real shock for Manchester United fans. Cristiano Ronaldo has been dropped by interim boss Michael Carrick despite scoring in the midweek Champions League win at Villarreal. Ronaldo only on the bench today. Bailly replaces the suspended Maguire. There are returns for Bruno Fernandes and Rashford, plus a start for Nemanja Matic in midfield. United have De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Bailly and Alex Telles. Fred, Matic and McTominay in midfield. Sancho and Rashford either side of Bruno Fernandes. From Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea against Manchester United.
And the former Manchester United double winner Paul Parker will be alongside Joe Shannon for that commentary. Could be an uncomfortable afternoon for Manchester United fans at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, league leaders, level on points with Manchester City as it stands. City leading here against West Ham by 1-0 with 10 to play. Jesus scoops the ball forward to Sterling. Here's Gundogan, chance for his second. Good save by Fabianski. Spread himself well and clawed the shot away with his left arm.
Absolutely, closed down the angle really well. He's made those runs like Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, they run in behind, they drag you all over the place, and West Ham needed Fabianski there and he came to the rescue. Good stop.
Here's Mahrez though, trying to dance away from Sofal. Fornals doing his defensive duty, concedes a corner, but I tell you what, you wouldn't have seen that from Pablo Fornals a year ago.
He's worked so hard, hasn't he, without the ball. He's been brilliant. That's what you want if you're a full-back. You've got tricky customers. Some full-backs can deal with wingers 1v1, but when you're playing Man City, you can certainly do with a little bit of help, and they've done that great, the West Ham wingers.
Corner to be taken by Riyad Mahrez in the 81st minute of the Etihad. It's going to be left-footed from the right-hand side. Puts his right arm in the air, Mahrez. Looping ball in towards Diaz. Well defended again by Dawson. Under pressure from Ruben Diaz. Sterling with a chance to put the ball back into the penalty area, but he's been dispossessed by Antonio. Cancelo there ahead of Lanzini to the loose ball. It's back now with Walker inside the centre circle. Bernardo trying to stretch the play. Zuma didn't really want to go with him over on that far side, but does so reluctantly. He realised there was no other option. And he's back now with Cancelo just inside the West Ham half. They've done plenty of running, West Ham, and the majority of it without the ball. Ederson plays it short to their goal scorer Manchester City, İlkay Gündoğan. Diaz down the right hand side looking to find Walker, but Walker was being troubled there by Lanzini, pestered, but in the end a free kick conceded by Lanzini.
Well, if you go back to the first Champions League game against PSG, if you remember after, Idrissa Gueye said they were pretty comfortable against City because they didn't have the pace to really hurt them in behind. And you know, you look at the City side in the front part. I mean, Sterling does, you know, Jesus a little bit, Mahrez a little bit, but not sort of lightning, are they? They're not lightning quick. So if they are going to cut you open, it's going to be obviously dominating the ball and really clever movements, the runs like Gündoğan just made there. That's where you've got to track and mark and block. Got to be so concentrated against them.
The other 2 o'clock kickoffs, both into added on time. 7 minutes to be added on at the King Power. Leicester lead 4-2 against Watford, and 5 added minutes for Everton to get back on terms against Brentford. 1-0 the Bees lead in that one. 1-0 Manchester City lead here. We've still got 8 minutes plus added time, having kicked off late in the second half while the ground staff cleared the playing surface of snow. That snow has now stopped. It's not been a great second half from a spectacle point of view, David.
Well, no, it certainly hasn't had the sort of all action. I mean, last time I saw Man City was at Brighton. They were brilliant, certainly for the first 45. You know, fantastic, so fluid going forward, but we haven't really seen that here today. If they grind this out 1-0 though, another clean sheet, I don't think they'll mind too much off the back of obviously a really good performance. That was, you know, would have taken a lot out of them as well, the PSG game.
Fernandinho is about to replace Riyad Mahrez, so an indication that Pep Guardiola is happy to shut up shop and sit on this 1-0 lead. Bowen meanwhile has dispossessed Sterling on the halfway line, so West Ham in possession now with Souček just on the edge of the centre circle. There's Declan Rice dropping deep again, forward to Lanzini. Number 10 on his back, Manuel Lanzini, playing in that number 10 role as well. Rice into Bowen, who's got room to turn inside the Manchester City half. Rodri just caught upfield momentarily. Johnson with a chance to cross from the right. Finds Lanzini just on the edge of the area. Manuel Lanzini. Manchester City have now got back in shape as Dawson comes forward and plays it out to right of Johnson. Here's Lanzini in the yellow footwear again. Bit reluctant there, West Ham, to get the ball into the penalty area. Declan Rice asking Zuma to get involved, and here's Rice again. Does switch it out to the right. Johnson cushioned it down inside the box. It's blocked by Cancelo, but at the expense of a corner. And we've spoken about the set piece prowess that West Ham have. This might be their best chance of an equaliser. 5 minutes from time.
Absolutely. And again, it's this marking system that we have from City. The bigger players standing on the 6-yard box in their zones. Your Rodris and Cancelos of this world, and the smaller players picking up West Ham's 6-foot plus players. So that's the mismatch.
Jarrod Bowen in front of the travelling West Ham fans. We'll try and pick out a teammate in navy blue in the centre. Punched away by Ederson, such a commanding goalkeeper. Collected by Sofal, heads it back towards the area. Dawson was coming back for an offside position. Manchester City screaming for a free kick. The referee says play on. It's now with Sofal in the left back position for West Ham. Fabianski plays it short to Johnson. Didn't even clear the penalty area of that one. Johnson launches the ball into the Manchester City half. 1 or 2 tired legs out there now for West Ham. Only Souček really tried to get on the end of that through ball.
Well, they've coped pretty well with those set pieces and corners, haven't they? Man City, and as well they've got Edison, who's pretty commanding in his box. He's got good height, can come and tries to claim things that certainly clear the danger, help your defence out. He does.
Here's Declan Rice. Powerful burst into the penalty area. He's got Antonio in the centre. He just ran out of pitch. Declan Rice. It's a goal kick.
He's got to cross it
lung-busting burst, and Rice is frustrated.
Yeah. West Ham fans will be frustrated. He's frustrated. He's throwing a few snowballs. Well, wasn't really a snowball, but just a bit of snow, bit of banter there, bit of fun. But he knows he made a great run. Once he gets into the box, I think he's taken one touch too many here. So strong, gets past Bernardo Silva and Carl Walker, and he just takes that extra, he just delays that extra little moment, and he could have just crossed the ball.
I think it was a snowball that he chucked into the air, much to the delight of the Manchester City fans.
He almost went on himself though. He didn't really roll it enough, you know. Might get a red card for that if he threw a snowball at a fan, maybe, I don't know.
The most unusual sending off in Premier League history. Fernandinho on for Raheem Sterling, actually. It was going to be Mahrez at one stage. Still a defensive change from Pep Guardiola. Manchester City leading 1-0. Time running out for West Ham to get an equaliser. Time has run out for Everton at the Brentford Community Stadium. Full time whistle about to sound there. Brentford leading 1-0. Ivan Toney with a penalty, another defeat, another game without a win for Rafa Benitez and for Everton. They're still playing at the King Power. Leicester 4, Watford 2. And here's Mahrez for Manchester City, trying to pick out Gundogan right in the centre of the half. Now Jesus down by the left corner flag. Jesus up against Bowen and Johnson. Asks Cancelo to take over, and he skips away from Lanzini. Cancelo with a cross, loops behind, and out of play for a goal kick. Lots of empty seats now around the Etihad. Even with this game in the balance, some have taken leave early. 2 to play. Manchester City 1, West Ham 0.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was going to touch earlier about Guardiola. I mean, he said he's not going to manage someone else in the Premier League, and at times it's a bit of a strained relationship, isn't it, between him and the fans here? Anyway, we'll break off and come back to that maybe.
He made some comments, didn't he, I think before a Champions League game.
Yes, filling it and not enough people attending, and
didn't go down well.
No, but we heard Jurgen Klopp say the same. Do you remember about Anfield once when it emptied out early and he never felt so alone, I think he said, on the side of the pitch? Well, it's quite a few gone now, as you say. Get an early exit, some of the fans.
The West Ham fans who've made the long trip to the northwest have stayed to the bitter end on this frosty afternoon in Manchester. City inching towards victory courtesy of that first half goal from Ilkay Gundogan. Here's Bernardo down by the left corner flag. Plays his cross against Johnson and out for a corner.
Yeah, it's so clever, isn't he? I mean, look, he's sort of running down a blind alley really, almost on the corner flag, and he's trapped by Johnson. He fakes to deliver the ball, gets Johnson to jump, and as he lands just hits his standing leg, and I think he's got man of the match, probably not just for that, but an all-round good display.
It's been an interesting start to the season for Bernardo Silva, because I think there was a chance after Grealish signed for big money that he could depart. Pep admitted that himself, but credit to Bernardo Silva, got his head down, made himself very difficult to leave out in the Premier League. Corner taken short. Jesus into the penalty area, cuts it back to Fernandinho. There's the clincher. Well, brought off the bench, more for his steely qualities than his scoring ones, but Fernandinho doubles Manchester City's lead, his first Premier League goal since October 2018, and with seconds of the 90 minutes remaining, it is Manchester City 2, West Ham 0.
Well, this is fantastic. Obviously, midfielder playing not renowned for his goal score, but he finishes this superbly. I mean, City try to keep the ball in the corner area. West Ham win it back, but they're so loose and casual with it. In the end, nice intricate play. I think it's Lanzini, then it's Antonio can't gather it. Bernardo Silva, lovely pass to Jesus, cuts it back to Fernandinho, completely unmarked, middle of goal, edge of the box. Fantastic first time finish, side foots it past the goalkeeper at the near.
Yeah, Fabianski rooted to the spot. The ball just kisses the inside of the post on its way in. Fernandinho puts the game to bed. in the Manchester snow. And Manchester City are going level with Chelsea at the top of the Premier League table as we move into 4 added minutes. And here is Bernardo. Oh, it's a lovely goal. Chips it over Fabianski. But the celebration's cut short by the assistant's flag. Wonderful finish from Bernardo.
Well, it's almost straight from the kick-off here. I mean, he's run through on goal, completely through. Fabulous little dink over Fabianski.
Declan Rice who gave it away.
Was there an offside? That's what they're saying, he was offside, but he still had to finish it anyway. He's not so sure he's offside, but...
Left-footed dink over the goalkeeper, but the eagle-eyed assistant did have his flag up. So it remains 2-0. 2 Manchester City goals ruled out for offside. And I mentioned West Ham's poor record here. Poor record against Manchester City. 2 wins now in 23 meetings. They are a better West Ham team than some of those that have made the trip in the past, but still a big golfing class between the two, David Conley.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As Johnson crosses, finds Antonio in the penalty area, nicked away by Rodri.
But there's probably about £1 billion spent on Man City, if not more, so that's where the difference comes from. And look, West Ham are certainly overachieving where they are, make no mistake.
Souček's cross into the box looking for Antonio. Flying header away by Diaz. Antonio wins it back, but not for very long. Clearly again by Laporte this time. We've played 2 of the 4 added minutes. Manchester City lead West Ham by 2-0. But their supporters, the travelling fans, the West Ham fans, are still singing their hearts out. I think 2-0 probably is about right, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd guess so. You know, they haven't really offered much of a threat second half, West Ham. I mean, you know, defended pretty well, but they've just come on strong against City. They just wear you down, don't they? You know, as you were speaking earlier, 1-0, you know, physically, mentally. You spent so long without the ball, blocking, tracking, etc. It's hard work.
Here's Sofel though. Maybe one last chance for the Hammers to get a consolation goal. Looking for Souček at the far post, knocked it down, but into the arms of Ederson. And that really sums up West Ham's frustration in the second 45. Ederson picked out Fernandinho. He's been dispossessed by Declan Rice. Cushion cross by Pablo Fornals. Again, Manchester City deal with the danger, but here's Fornals again into Lanzini inside that 18-yard box. This will be the last meaningful action of the game. Sofel again a bit reluctant to put it into the mixer. Zuma scoops it out to the left-hand side of Lanzini. Rice lays it back into the path of Lanzini. His cross headed away by Aymeric Laporte, and then Fernandinho dispossessed by Lanzini, who shoots. Oh, it's a wonderful goal. Super strike on the volley from Manuel Lanzini. His first Premier League goal of the season. Right footed off the underside of the bar and in. Ederson's 100th Manchester City clean sheet goes begging. It won't make too much difference to the outcome, but Lanzini has given those travelling West Ham fans something to smile about. In the 95th minute, it is Manchester City 2, West Ham 1.
It's a great goal. He just robs Fernandinho of possession, a little bit too casual on the edge of his box, and Lanzini nicks it off him. One touch, bounces, bangs it off the post. Ederson beat, and that's the final action of the game. And well, it ends well for West Ham with that goal, but obviously beaten.
So another win for Manchester City. The champions roll on, level on points with leaders Chelsea, at least until Chelsea take on Manchester United very shortly. And in the end, David Conley, Fernandinho brought on to protect the lead given to Manchester City by İlkay Gündoğan, ends up with a winning goal.
Yeah, they scored one, and might have cost them one as well, but nonetheless, yeah, winning goal. And fair play to West Ham. Look, they kept going and made up a game of it as much as they could, but I think no one can really question whether Man City were worthy winners. Got the job done in the end, and it's hard to breach that City defence. Not many sides have done it. Only conceded 7 now, so averaging sort of 1 every other game. but I think David Moyes won't lose too much sleep about this and he'll move on.
Yeah, Manchester City victors again, as they always seem to be in the Premier League, against West Ham. Ilkay Gundogan opening the scoring from close range 12 minutes before half-time. Fernandinho with a lovely crisp strike from outside the box a minute from time, sealing the win. Lanzini's brilliant volley in stoppage time. Scant consolation really for West Ham. My thanks to David Conley for his expert analysis. Wins then for Brentford, for Leicester and for Manchester City. All eyes on Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea against Manchester United. That's on the way next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Got an unquenchable